So back when I was in the Marine Corps, I'd start off every day at 5 a.m. shaving with my K-bar. Seriously, nothing wakes you up faster than having a 9-inch blade right next to your neck. Nope, that is not the way it went. And in fact, the razor type I actually use the most, I think many of you guys are going to be surprised by. But before I reveal that, let's talk about the cutthroat razor, aka the straight razor, a razor men have been using for thousands of years. If you go back and look throughout history, you'll find examples of straight razors being used by the ancient Egyptians, throughout Mesopotamia, the Roman Empire. This tool for getting a close shave has been around for a long time. Nowadays, this niche shaving method is used by less than 1% of men. Why? Well, the first reason, as you can imagine, is it's dangerous. Having an open blade like that right next to your neck, yeah, you can be accident-free 99.9% of the time. Unfortunately, one deep cut in the wrong area, yeah, that could lead to a hospital visit. Or if we go back 100 years or beyond, it could lead to an infection, which then could lead to all types of complications and possibly death. Now, at the basic level, you need to have a sharp blade, steady hand, and shaving cream. Yeah, if you're missing any of those, we got trouble. But you also need to know how to shave a man's face. In case you didn't know, the hair on a man's face grows in different ways, and traditionally, you want to shave on the first pass with the grain. On the second pass, after you have reapplied shaving cream, you want to shave against the grain. This requires a bit of skill, and not all men had it. Hence why a lot of men would go to a barber for a professional shave. So all this being said, why did men choose this option? Well, for a long time, it was the only option. But when performed by a skilled individual, you actually would get the best shave that a man can possibly get, because when it comes to closeness without causing ingrown hairs, a straight razor shave is almost impossible to beat. Now, all that being said, as someone that still occasionally does a straight razor shave, expect it to take at a minimum 30 minutes. And yeah, that's probably the biggest reason it's not popular anymore. Now, if a straight razor forces you to slow down, this next shaving method saves you time. This razor type was invented and patented in 1928. It first entered the market in the 1930s and started to become popular after World War II. Why? Well, a couple reasons. First up, people had electricity in their homes. Second, we started to enter a period in which time was increasingly valuable. The razor type I'm talking about, gentlemen, is of course the electric razor. Now, in general, you're going to see two types of electric razors out there: rotary razors and foil shavers. Now, rotary shavers use circular cutting heads. This style was developed to work around the contours of the face and with hair that grows in multiple directions. Now, foil shavers use moving cutters beneath a thin perforated screen. The hair enters the opening in the foil and is cut underneath, allowing the metal screen to act as a barrier between the moving blades and your skin. Now, back when they first came out, electric razors got a lot of flack because they weren't that effective. I mean, they would shave, but they weren't nearly as good as the straight or safety razor. But in the last 30 years, guys, we have seen huge improvements in the industry. And it's safe to say in many cases, modern electric shavers give you almost as good of a shave as any of the other razor types. But in my opinion, that's not where electric razors win. And talking about the razor I used the most in the Marine Corps, guys, it was a foil razor that I had in my truck that I would shave on the way to work. And if you're familiar with the military, you know that we have shaving standards. And no, as an officer, I wasn't really getting inspected, but I did need to maintain the basic standard, which I did, no problem. But for a quick shave within 1 to 2 minutes, it did an excellent job. We like the idea of a grooming ritual, but day in, day out, we just want something that's going to get the job done. And the reality is, gents, who wants to deal with cutting themselves? And that's what I love about electric razors. I have never cut myself with one of these. And at this point, you guys may be wondering, Antonio, what's this electric razor you're swinging around? Guys, this is our sponsor Laifen in their new P3. So first up, this is a 3-blade electric shaver. It's got these dual linear high-speed motors that move at 12,000 cuts a minute. It's got a 100-minute runtime. It's recharged with a USB-C cable, and it's IPX7 waterproof. It's also, if you can't tell, incredibly compact. Compare this to other traditional electric razors out there, you're going to find this thing is 1/3 the size. With a 100-minute battery taking maybe a minute and a half to shave, you've got right there 2 months of usage. And for you travelers, it's got an airplane mode that you just simply hold the button down for a couple seconds. All of a sudden, the little airplane light goes off right there. And guess what? You press that button as many times as you want. It's not going to turn on. You then hold that for another, 2 to 3 seconds. It is back to normal, and then boom, just turns right on. Gents, this razor feels like it's quality built. And again, it's got a really sleek design that is perfect for if you just want to keep it in the bathroom, you want to keep it at the office, or like me, you like to travel light and you're going to pack it in your carry-on and take it with you traveling for a couple weeks. And last but definitely not least, the shave quality. This thing gives me an excellent shave. So if you want a quality shave that's fast, that's comfortable, that's cost effective, that isn't going to cut you, that's easy to maintain and take with you when you're traveling? Gentlemen, if that sounds agreeable, you need to check out the Laifen P3. And like always, down in the description of today's video, I am putting the best deal for the Laifen P3 you will find on the internet. Use that link. Go check it out. It's an amazing razor, and I highly recommend you take advantage of this deal. You grab it. You are not going to regret it. Again, use that link in the description of today's video to get the best deal on the web. So, what is the razor type I am not going to recommend? Guys, cheap disposable. So, quick story. I was traveling, forgot my razor, and like many of you guys, you just go to the hotel desk. Hey, what do you have? I was at a luxury hotel. They gave me a single blade razor. It didn't look bad. I mean, it's a razor, right? That was the worst shave of my life. These are the worst razors, in my opinion. Now, all that being said, from the higher end companies, the one that cost a little bit more, Gillette right here, their 2-blade disposable, I've actually had good luck with. This one right here, I've had very rarely do I have any problems. And for a long time, this was my go-to travel because it was lightweight. I have tried some of the higher end 3 blades. Those have actually been decent. I haven't had much luck with Bic in general. But yeah, to each their own. And you know what? I would love to hear from you guys. Down in the comments below, share your stories, share your favorite blades, especially nowadays, because I know things change over time. Now, this next category is one that the majority of you guys are going to recognize because the majority of men use this type of razor. Of course, what I'm talking about here is the Cartridge razor. This is where you have a disposable head and you have a handle that you can use multiple times. First started getting popularity in the 1970s, and at that point it was 1 and 2 blades, 3 blades in the 1980s, and by the 1990s it started going crazy. And in case you haven't been indoctrinated, the idea of multiple blades is that one blade lifts the hair, the other blade cuts it, which sort of makes sense. And even at 3 blades, it kind of gives you a little bit more coverage, helps you catch hairs that maybe you missed. When you look at the way these companies make money, you realize that they market it so hard because it's the most profitable money maker. Seriously, over the period of a decade, a man can easily spend close to $2,000 on cartridge razors. Yeah, $200 annually, going through about 3 dozen or more cartridges a year. Now, as far as convenience and quality of shave, especially if you don't really have irritated skin or you don't get ingrown hairs, they can do a good job. That's why they are popular. They're a solid product. However, if you've got any type of kink, any type of curl in your facial hair and it pulls that hair out and then drops it back in, this can easily cause ingrown hairs and bumps, irritation, and even infections that can lead to, a lot of skin issues. So if you're getting a good shave and you don't mind spending all that money, you can stick with it. But in my opinion, this is the type that many men, I think, should explore different options because I think there are better ones. And having said that, let's go to the double edge safety razor, the old school champion. So the idea for the double-edged safety razor came in the 1890s when a guy named King Gillette had this idea of using a replaceable disposable blade and creating something that was a little bit safer than the cutthroat razor. He founded the company in 1901. By 1903, they had started production and they were making these safety razors, which did actually a great job of giving a man a very good shave. He needed less skill than a straight razor. He could shave quicker, and most importantly, it just felt like an overall safer experience. And the big innovation, believe it or not, wasn't just the safety issue, but it was also simply using that disposable blade. And the reason being, I didn't really talk about it in the straight razor, you've got to maintain the sharpness of that razor. After every time you use it, you've got to run it over a strop. Occasionally, you have to send it out to get sharpened. It's important that you maintain the integrity of that blade. It's not something that you can see. And King Gillette got over that issue by creating these micro-thin disposable razors that a man would use a few times and then discard, therefore ensuring he would get an excellent shave pretty much every time he used it. And straight up, one of the smartest marketing decisions these guys made is that they joined forces with the U.S. military. So by World War I, they actually had produced a U.S. service set. They got the safety razor in the hands of U.S. Marines, U.S. soldiers, Navy, sailors. All these young men were getting used to this new tool and they came back loving it. It's what they wanted. And to this day, if you want a close shave that actually doesn't cause the irritation, you need to check out the safety razor, because when it comes down to it, this thing is not going to pull the hairs out, but it will give you a very close shave. And I have heard from so many men that have dealt with bumps and irritation that when they went to a safety razor, they were just getting the best shave of their life. So I will highly recommend this one. So which razor razor is your favorite? Let me know your winner down in the comments. And guys, again, if you want to grab an electric razor, check out Laifen. I really do. This thing is friggin' awesome. And yes, I know they were the sponsor, but the reality is, guys, I've been using foil razors for like 30 something years. Yeah, solid tool, solid product, highly recommended. Again, use that link, go check them out. And if you want more videos about grooming, well, guys, boom, I got you covered right here. Go check it out. Boom. Oh yeah, right there.